Hello, artists! Now that we've read the story, Arnie the Donut, we're going to use the illustrations to draw our own version of Arnie. For this activity, you can hold your paper horizontal across, or you can also turn it vertical straight up and down. You choose which would be better for your drawing. Let's begin by taking a pencil, or you can have a black crayon for outlining later, or you can draw with a black crayon or marker if you think you can do that without a mistake. If not, stick with the pencil first. Find our starting point towards the center top of our paper and a little bit to the side, because we're going to start with Arnie's eyes. Once you've found your spot, make your dot so you don't forget. Right on that dot, we're going to put our pencil down and make a circle nice and big for the first of Arnie's eyes. I'm going across just a little bit, and I'm going to repeat that one more time for the second eye. Inside the eye, I'm going to make a curve, and then I'm going to take my black or pencil and make one little dot for the inner part of the eyeballs. Next up, we're going to make the donut part of the body. So starting from the first eye, I'm going to curve down and all the way to the other eye to make the circular shape of the donut. And that space in between gets connected with a little curve. Make sure that you drew big enough before you move on. The center is where the hole of the donut goes, so I'm going to put a smaller hole right in the middle. A circle, not too big and not too small. A curve for a smile goes below for Arnie's mouth. And I'm going to come down and curve one more time around to the other side to make it a little bit thicker. I'm going to use a black crayon or marker, or your pencil for now, to color inside the mouth. Because just like in the illustrations in the story, Arnie's mouth is black, so it'll stand out against the colorful sprinkles and icing that we add to the donut. Take your time, color in the mouth completely and neatly, trying your best to stay inside the lines. When you are done, we're going to return to the top where the eyes begin to make a wavy line for the icing that covers the top of the donut. I'm going around the mouth and all the way over to the other eye. Stay a little close to the edge, and if you happen to hit the circle edge in some spots, that's perfectly fine. Right on the sides of our circle, we're going to make some lines for Arnie's arms. You may make the lines in any direction they want. His arms could be up or they could be down, and we'll add some little straight lines for fingers at the end of those arms. Again, you can change the directions of the arms by changing how you draw the original lines. Below the circle, we're going to make Arnie's legs, again, with two straight lines, and I'm simply going to curve that line on the bottom to make two circles for the feet. And there you have the basic drawing of Arnie the Donut. For the background, we're going to use some smaller circles so that we can make it look like there is a design of smaller donuts all around Arnie. So start with a medium circle and add a small, tiny one for the hole for the donut inside each one. Again, spread them out, leave space in between, and it's okay if some of the circles go off the paper. Now that we are done, we can color. To begin our coloring, we're going to do the dough part of the donut, which is around the outside edge. Donuts are usually a light color brown, so if you could find a light brown or a tan or even a regular brown crayon is perfectly fine. We're going to color the dough around the outer edge of our circle. The inner part, inside those wavy lines, is going to be the icing. So I'm only coloring right now the outside of those wavy lines, which would be the actual dough of the fried donut. Remember, Brown or tan is the best color you should pick for the dough of the donut. Once you've gone all the way around, coloring outside of the wavy lines, we can switch to our new color. I'm going to use some pink for the eyelids, which is the top part of the eye that we drew with the curve. And the inner part inside that wavy line is going to be the sprinkles and the icing. So we can choose different colors for sprinkles. I'm actually going to use my markers first for sprinkles. If you have markers, you can do the same thing. If not, you can choose some different colored crayons. And to make sprinkles, we're going to use our dashed lines. Remember, our dashed line is our broken line, the line that looks like it was been cut up into little pieces. So I will make little straight dashes all inside my curvy line so that it looks like sprinkles are covering the top of Arnie the Donut. Notice I'm not coloring in the whole space. I'm just making the sprinkle lines. You can use as many colors as you like. Spread them out and leave space in between. You should definitely still see white left over when you're done with the sprinkles. In the story, Arnie's icing is chocolate, so I'm going to switch to a brown crayon. Because I used markers, I can go over the marker sprinkles with my brown crayon and it won't get messed up. If you use crayons, that's okay. Just color lighter than the sprinkles that you made before. And I'm going to go right on top of those sprinkles and fill in the rest of those white spaces. So now it looks like the chocolate icing underneath. And I'm going to keep going, coloring neatly and completely till all of Arnie's icing is chocolate and filled in. Remember, the center of the donut stays empty. That's the whole of the donut that you can see through, so there isn't any sprinkles or any icing on that part of the donut, just around the outside. And remember to color lightly so that you can still see your sprinkles underneath. You should definitely use a brown crayon for this part, because if I were to use a brown marker, it would be way too dark and I wouldn't be able to see those sprinkles that I made. So crayon is perfect for coloring in the icing. All complete. When it comes to Arnie's feet, you could use whatever color you like for his shoes. I'm going to use a light blue. And there's Arnie, all colored in. Another possible way to create the icing for Arnie is by using some watercolor paint. If I choose to use watercolor paint to paint in the icing, I could make the sprinkles by using either oil pastels or crayons if I press dark enough. So I'm going to repeat the same step that I previously said about making the little dashes for the sprinkles of the icing, except this time I'm going to use either just crayons or oil pastels. Remember, you could pick whatever colors you want. Use your small broken dash line, or little straight lines, and pastels also work besides crayons. Spread them out. Use whatever colors you want. Remember to leave white spaces in between. You're not coloring the icing yet, you're just making sprinkles. Now that my sprinkles are done, I could take my watercolor paint, I can take my brush and my little water cup, and I'm going to dip the brush in the water and go to the brown colored paint so that I can paint the brown icing right on top of the sprinkles. Because I used crayons or oil pastels, which are wax resistant, to make the sprinkles, the water will go right on top and it will not ruin the sprinkles underneath. Pay attention when you paint. Go around the inner circle and around the eyes because you want those to stay white. And remember, it's always water, paint, paper. And if I see it a little too dark, I just use some extra water to spread it out, back and forth, and I try my best to stay inside my pencil lines. Anytime you need more paint, you just add more water to your brush and dip it one more time. If you see a puddle where there's too much water or paint, just go back with your brush and spread it out, because we don't want puddles when the paint dries. Remember, the icing is chocolate, so we're using the color brown. When you are all done painting, and your icing is all filled in, you just put your brush back in the cup to wash it off. And there's another way that you can make the chocolate icing for Arnie, either with crayons and markers or with paint. And when that is done, you can use your crayons or your markers or paint to color in the donuts in the background. Remember, you use tan for the dough and use whatever colors you want for sprinkles. And here is icing. Our completed version of Arnie the Donut. He's all colored in with his chocolate icing and sprinkles, and around the outside, we've added our own colorful donuts and sprinkles to fill in the extra space. Remember, you can use paint and pastels or markers and crayons. Take your time.